I really don't want to get into it because I don't want anybody to be misled and try and figure out what I did and go down that route.
I don't know much about witchcraft. What?
You don't want to. When you open up the doors to the dark, they're not going to wait to be invited in. They're coming. I'll be damned if he didn't come back.
Are you
He
serious?
came back. The Dark Prince to help me put a hex on somebody. That really fucked my life up. And it took years for us to get out of it because somebody had said that there was a lot of weird stuff going on in that room at the time. Like chairs were moving around, a lot of stuff like that. We have a song we wrote about some young girl named Mary Jane Twilliger who was a witch, and her dad found out and he buried her alive.
How did she get into witchcraft?
Oh, Michelle. Yeah, so she got into this thing with Stan. She married Stan. Stan was, like I said, he was a really, really terrific guy. He was a really awesome guy. Good looking and rode a Harley. I mean, first thing in the morning, the whole fucking neighborhood vibrated, and who wouldn't want to be married to a cop like that? So, and his tour that he had to do every day was Pacific Coast Highway in Huntington Beach. That doesn't suck, right? So, anyways, he left her, and she was heartbroken, and she went crazy, and she started pursuing alternate means because God had not worked for her. The God of the witnesses that she'd been praying for her husband to come back didn't work for her. And she, I had ran away from home and I moved up to Idaho, and I was living with her and her kids in a trailer, which was awful, just fucking awful. And she'd went to work one day, and I started playing hooky from school because my nephew had told people at the school I was a martial artist guy. And the first day I got there, I got cold cocked. And I figured I'm not going to this school because I'm not going to deal with this every day. So I started playing hooky. I figured I would run away back to home. But one day I went back into where her bedroom was, and there was a candle that was on her desk that had melted. And it had some substance in the top of it, looked like moss. And there was a picture that was burnt in half, and it was a hex to have him leave the girl he left my sister for, who was a big blonde bombshell from a bar, and to come back to my sister, who was not a big bombshell blonde. And I'll be damned if he didn't come back.
Are you serious?
He came back. He came back. So I figured, wow, this has got to work. And I saw the book. It was just a little piece of paper. It was like, you fold it in half and that's a page. And it was like a 20-page booklet or something like that. And it had a couple hexes in there. And I tried 2 of them and they both worked too. So at that point, I had to tell my wife what I had done, and we started on the journey of trying to get the oppression, the demonic oppression that had happened to me by opening up my defenses and asking for the Dark Prince to help me put a hex on somebody. That really fucked my life up, and it took years for us to get out of it because we were going to like San Francisco, up to Filipino priests that would lay hands on you, and I had some Indian Rajas that would do cupping and acupuncture and crazy stuff like that.
What were your hexes?
Well, one was something that had to do with the guy that actually punched me at school. What happened was we went to school that day. Excuse me. We went to school that day, and the guy walked up to me and just slugged me. And he said he was going to see me after school. Now, we rode a normal school bus to one point, and then the bus stopped and all the kids got out for a smaller bus that would take us out into the rural area. And so we stop, we get out, and everybody circles around the 2 of us like we're going to fight right there. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this is going down. So everything I'd learned up to that point, was going through my mind. And the second bus shows up, and we get in the bus, and we take off. And he's coming up to his house, and he walks through the walkway in the bus and elbows me in the back of the head as he's getting out. And I was trying to fit in, so I had a mouthful of Red Man, and I was trying to get into the whole chewing tobacco thing because that's what everybody else was doing. And when he hit me, I went, "Ooh," and I swallowed that shit. So I went back to my sister's trailer, and I got really, really sick. And I figured, that's it. I'm going to do something about this. So I looked through the book, and I found something that would do what I wanted. And I did that hex. And then there was another one.
What did you want to happen?
Well, I really don't want to get into it because I don't want anybody to be misled and try and figure out what I did and go down that route, because it was a terrible deviation from what was good and right in the world for me. Of course, that power's out there. Without black, there's no white. But it was just for me. After that happened, I realized that really don't want to talk about this. Really don't want to get anybody interested in it. Mm-hmm. So I'll talk about it to the degree that I'm comfortable with, where I know that nobody can be misled from it.
And then you did another one?
I did a second one, and that one was it was something when I had moved back to California already, and there was somebody that I wanted, and I was just, I was an ugly, redheaded, freckle-faced kid with short hair and sweat rings, and I didn't have any chance of being with this girl, but everybody in school wanted to be with this girl. So I figured, what the hell? I say that quite a lot in my life, right? And we were together, and then we weren't.
But it worked again. Wow.
Yeah.
So what is, I mean, I don't know much about witchcraft.
You don't want to.
What is the, in a snapshot, what is it? Is it?
Well, there is a understanding that there are black witches and white witches, that there are witches that do good. But witchcraft is still witchcraft. It's the use of the elements, and there's alchemy, there's wizardry, sorcery, electricity, magic. There's use of blood, use of spit, use of sperm, use of all of these things that are all part of what was created and being used in an unnatural way. So, for me, I when I walked away from practicing any kind of witchcraft, because I didn't practice it. I did it 2 times, and both of them worked. And then I went, this is bigger than I am, and I'm not going to mess around with this. And so wrote the song "The Conjuring," and there was another song that was kind of along from that inspiration, from that experience. It was "Bad Omen."
Wow. I read that you stopped doing witchcraft around 30. Sounds like it went on for about 15 years.
That ended way before that.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. I think about it all the time. Whenever somebody pisses me off, I think, man, no, I won't. I've actually, when my sister was alive, I called her up a few times and talked to her, and she talked me out of it a few times because I was at the end of my rope, and I knew it worked, but didn't do it.
It sounds like you were in some, I think you described it as a satanic depression.
No, oppression. It was like a possession, not depression, like having a spirit on you.
How so?
Well, when you open up the doors to the dark, they're not going to wait to be invited in. They're coming, right? And if I believe in God, then I have to believe in the devil, right? And I believe in God. I believe in Christ. I believe in the devil. I believe they're demons. I believe they're angels. Still don't know what the real estate looks like up in the heavens, but it's I've got a pretty good understanding of a lot of that stuff, and I don't know, stuff that happens when you get really drugged out. A lot of times, you start to do really unnatural things. Because you're on drugs. Well, why wouldn't you? You're not yourself. You either have liquor in you, which is called spirits for a reason, or you're on stuff that's like an opiate, which makes you think everybody's your friend, and or you smoke pot and you're paranoid of everybody, or you take sedatives, which for some people they need them. They need them to be able to not wear the people out around them. And other people need stimulants, like children who have been diagnosed with ADD or ADHD. But when somebody starts grinding pharmaceutical speed because they like it, it's kind of what meth is.
So do you think you were possessed?
Oh, I know it was, because we tried to get my life in order, and stuff just kept happening, and we would go see people who were spiritual in nature, and they would say that they see something. The priest that was in, we went to go see I forgot, I told Darren all this stuff too. We had been talking about what had happened, Pam and I, and I said that I wanted to get rid of this. So we went to this person. Her name was, I think it was Caroline somebody, and her husband was a Green Bay Packer football player, so I thought it was legit. And she was a doctor, so she would do these kind of clearing things. And she had this Indian guy that was a Raja come over. He was like a priest that did laying on hands, cupping, acupuncture. And so he came over, and he said, when he was doing the acupuncture on me, he was meditating behind me, and he fell over. And he said that there was a man with a silver turban that came out and said, "I release him." And that's when he fell over. When we went to San Francisco to go see the Filipino priest, he said that he laid hands on me, and the bull, the head of a bull, came out of my chest, out of my stomach. He said, "That's..."
Holy shit.
Yeah. And I didn't see it. I didn't feel it. I don't know what the fuck happened. But, in the spirit world, I don't know if I would see it, because I don't know if I have that gifting to see the demons. But, he had said the same thing. So there were several people that had nothing in common that knew that there was something going on with me. And finally it broke. And I remember getting baptized at some place in Northridge, California, and somebody, and this is freaky. Somebody had said that there was a lot of weird stuff going on in that room at the time, like chairs were moving around, because there was a bunch of people in there that were getting baptized, and there was a lot of tongues being spoken and stuff. I didn't see any of that stuff, so I got to see it myself to believe it. But, that's what I heard was going on in there. And I was thinking, man, that's pretty cool, because if this whole God thing's real and I live my life like there is a God, then I'm not going to regret it.
Have you ever seen anything
Demons
supernatural?
Like a demon?
Anything?
Not in the physical. Visions, yeah, but not in the physical. But, you do too. You say you have dreams.
Oh, I've had several occurrences where I've experienced things, not necessarily seen, but heard or...
Feel. Walk into a room that's really cold all of a sudden.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff like that. We have a song we wrote about some young girl named Mary Jane Twilliger who was a witch, and her dad found out, and he buried her alive. And this was in the city right north of where Ellefson lived, and we went out there to go visit that place, and it was creepy. It was really creepy, but that was it. It was just creepy. I didn't hear any owls. The wind didn't blow. I did hear, and this could be another bit of folklore, but somebody pushed her headstone over, and when they went back to their car, they found their car keys on the hood.
It's wild, man.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's wild. We had, I've had a bunch of these experiences. One of them, I was interviewing a friend of mine priest. His name's Father Dan Rehill. He's an exorcist. And I remember when he came in here, he was like, look, he's like, weird shit happens when I start talking about this stuff. He's like, the cameras might go out, who knows what. And he was talking about exorcisms. And then he brought up Christ. And the AC in it right there just went on full blast, like immediately. It just started whooshing. I mean, I've had a bunch of these experiences, but
That's awesome.
it's made me realize how real the spiritual realm is.
It's real.
And you know, just to move on a little further, I mean, at some point, after you found Christ again, you quit singing, you quit performing certain songs. What songs were those? No matter where you're watching Sean Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts.